Welcome to episode 857 of Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm sharing experiences, true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And there are many ways to support the show. You can share the show with others, rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform, and you can also sign up for the Patreon page and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. You can also check out the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts there, along with some other items with designs made by friends of the show. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making the show. Also, please follow and support friends of the show, especially Jen, the Arcane Observer, and her own channel. She is also, whenever possible, the co-host of this show on Saturdays. And then Michael Strange of Trouble Minds Radio and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows, as well as my own 24/7. So, thank you all for being here and listening in. And let me get back to these true stories here. So, also, I am discovering I may be dealing with allergies or a cold or something, so I apologize for any random pauses or sounds that may happen during the show. Okay, let me find the start of this one. This one says, I want to start this by saying my grandpa was put on hospice last week. Last night, I told my parents I'd watch him so they could sleep. At around 2:30-ish in the morning, excuse me, I was dozing off and no one else was awake. My grandpa was on the hospital bed in the living room, and I was looking at the corner in front of me, and I saw a dark shadow figure, and I could feel something watching me. It wasn't a trick of the light either, because the TV light hit the corner perfectly. So if there was someone there, you'd literally see them. But this was different. My grandpa has been staring away from us, like over us, when we try and talk to him. We were told this morning he won't make it to Friday. I believe it was my grandma who visited last night. I think she's waiting for him, because when I saw the shadow figure, it scared me at first, like a jump scare, but after a second, I felt instantly calm. And that's where that one ends. Uh, I've had a few of those accounts recently of family uh, in similar situations where, unfortunately, one of them is about to pass, and it's not just the person who's about to pass having these experiences; it's their family, the people around them, that also have these experiences. So I don't doubt this happens at all. And so yeah, I like to share those because whenever I can find patterns that seem to be patterns, I like to point them out just in case anyone has had a similar experience, that then they can sort of not feel so weird about having it, and know that they're not alone in having it. So just I like the one-off kind of accounts of experiences, uh, just as much as I like these sort of that are uh, they come up every so often. So, I don't remember. I know that my grandma, when she was passing, when she was near the end, she saw figures and sensed figures around her in the house. I don't remember anyone actually having any experiences at the time, along with her, but also that time has passed now. It's been years, so it's hard to know. Uh, it'd be hard to. I have to ask around. I do know. Um, I do know that family members, like I've had experiences with my grandma, and even a couple with my grandpa after they passed, where they visited in dreams. So I think that's all part of that as well. Uh, so let's see here. Uh, Dawn in the chat says, and hello, Dawn. Hospice actually uh, calls them shared death experiences when the family has them too. Okay, yeah, yep. So it's definitely a thing that seems to happen sometimes, and I mean, in a way, that's an extension of all the different medical professional experiences, all the accounts of people who are in the medical field having experiences, both in medical facilities, but also I've heard and read some accounts of people uh, who visit patients in their homes for hospice during hospice who also have experiences. So it's all it does all seem to connect that way. So let's see here. Let's move on to the next one here. Did I skip one? I didn't skip one, but I scrolled past it. Uh, excuse me. This one says, I want to share a strange experience that happened in my office. My friend, A, often stays overnight in the office to finish his work. One morning, while we were having tea, he told me that when he works late, he hears weird noises, like benches being moved, people whispering, and objects falling. Our office is in a 4-story building, and we occupy the first and third floors. A few days later, I also stayed late with him. Around 1 a.m., A remembered he had forgotten to lock the third floor office. I told him I'd go up and lock it. When I reached the third floor, the whole place was dark. There were no lights on, just heavy rain and thunder outside. I switched on my phone flashlight and walked in. The air conditioner was still running, so I switched it off. That's when I saw something near the computer desk. It looked like a figure. Its head moved slightly. My heart skipped a beat. At first, I thought it was a helmet left behind, but something about it didn't feel right. With fear building inside me, I quickly locked the office and went downstairs. The next morning, when I opened the third floor office again, the helmet wasn't there. Nothing was on that desk. And here's the strangest part. There's only one spare key, and it was with me. I still don't know what I saw that night. That's the end of that one. It sounds like a shadow figure of some kind. It's hard to know, but yeah, I'm not sure what they saw there. And there's just so many. It's amazing whenever I find these accounts of workplace experiences that do not take place in hospitals or medical facilities or hotels. They're in places you would not think about uh, having any activity in them, and yet they still happen. Factories, offices, all kinds of places. I've found accounts of things happening. Um, so, I mean, stores, grocery stores, other kinds of stores, uh, and so there's really I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there is no type of location that has not had some kind of experience at some point. All kinds of accounts I found over the years from security guards, police. Of course, that's not even counting experiences outside, not just in nature, but on streets, in alleys, um, schools, all these different kinds of places. So, moving on to the next one here. This one says, I started working at a factory recently. It's enormous and housed in a building that's at least 100 years old. My coworker and I have joked that we're absolutely going to run into a ghost eventually. We're the cleaning crew, so there's not a lot of time to look around while we're there. Anyway, the other day I was in a small vestibule by myself. It's away from literally everyone and only used as an occasional side entrance. It's a quick clean, and I'd just finished vacuuming the small carpeted area when I heard a sharp, insistent whisper. Stop. So I reckon whoever that woman had been, she really didn't like noise. And that's where that one ends. I, uh, I, part of me thinks that's kind of funny because I don't like the vacuum cleaner either. The sound of it either. But, I wonder, I mean, that doesn't sound like a residual. It's hard to tell with residuals because it can be a woman whispering or saying something like that, like stop, for a completely, anyone, I mean, really, for a completely different reason than what it appears to be. This is what's so difficult about these kinds of experiences, is that it's hard to know unless you can sense or feel that it's someone there watching and you know that there's an awareness of you. It's hard to know what's going on there. Uh, and the place being over 100 years old, it's also a factory. Factories, especially when they first started being developed, even up to I think even like 50 years ago, depending on the type of factories. Unfortunately, there could be accidents that would happen with the machines in them that would hurt and in some cases kill some of the workers. Unfortunately, and so I wonder if that has anything to do with anything or not. So, but yeah, it's just really odd. That one is. I wonder about that one. If it was just someone there. Um, also, I wonder. I wonder how far back vacuum cleaners were really around. If this spirit was from a time that where they didn't have those and they didn't know what was going on. Um, I don't mean to assume anything because I don't know, but it makes me wonder about that as well. So yeah, I don't know, but this just points out what I was talking about before I read that true story there, where these things happen everywhere. Let's get on to the next one here. This one says, maybe you all can explain this. I was walking to my regular fishing spot, which is about a 15-minute walk after you park. Anyway, while I was walking there, it got real quiet, but but like unnaturally quiet. There we go. And it seemed like the path just kept going, even though I know it in fact does end. So I don't know why, but I decided to turn around and leave. The entire time I was walking back, I uh, I, I had stones tossed at my feet. But here's the thing that got me. Before I broke free from the trees, I swear something grabbed my collar. like I wasn't supposed to go. That was 7 years ago. I never went back. That's where that one ends. And that is just really odd. Sounds like they went through some kind of, I don't know, portal, other dimension, time, space distortion. I don't even know how to explain that. Except it does seem like there was some intelligence there. And I don't know. Doesn't seem like the intention was positive overall. I mean, it's hard to say, but that one is really odd. The time and space ones to me are always some of the most fascinating because they lead me to wondering about the nature of time and space and reality and all those things. Um, so I don't know, but and I've had a few like in this show. I've had a few like that where someone went through a tunnel and they were supposed to find another tunnel after that after they got out and they never did, so they had to go back. And then when they went back, they went through two tunnels. It's really hard to know what to make of all that. So I and of course I've had my couple of experiences with time being weird. So it's really odd. But yeah, I don't know what to make of all that. But let's get through at least two more here, and then we'll see about ending for tonight. Because these next two are, at least this next one is short. This one says, my wife. Oh, wait, no, what am I doing? Okay, not the right one. I had skipped one. This one says, if I can do things right here, clocks have been malfunctioning around me, whether it's at work or at home. If it's not a clock driven by internet synchronization, they start to lose time. Electronics tend to have minor malfunctions around me, but not enough to be annoying, especially my computer. But I am used to it by now, and even somewhat drive with overclocking to malfunction on purpose because while gaming, it can get increasingly funny. However, the clock thing is starting to get increasingly noticeable. I didn't think too much about it until I heard a few stories about people having a similar experience. I have constantly reset my clocks around my home and work to the right time, but it keeps happening. I at first assumed I was imagining things for the most part, but at this point it is far too noticeable to ignore. Sometimes it'll be a couple of hours off, just randomly, and it's probably like at least 10 different clocks around, not just my house, but other houses I visit, and constantly my work truck. Anyway, I'm curious to see if anyone else has this odd occurrence happen to them. And that's where that one ends. I have heard of devices uh, malfunctioning around people. I haven't heard so much of regular, again, non computerized, non internet connected clocks doing that. That one is new to me, as far as I can remember, anyway. So, um, I don't know. This one, that one was odd, and I wonder about that. How many other people have that experience? So, because I don't know what to make of that. Some kind of, is it an effect the person's own energy is having on the objects? That's all I can think of there. But beyond that, I don't know. And speaking of earlier, I mentioned, I always mention in the introduction of the show. I just want to say hello in the chat there to Jen, the Arcane Observer, as well, listening in. So I appreciate that. Um, Let's get one more story in here before we end the show for tonight. This one starts off. It is sad, but there's paranormal activity here related to it, so we'll push through it. This one says, "My wife passed 14 years ago at age 30, but nothing ever made me think she was still around until the past couple of years. As I became more spiritual, I've had experiences that have made me understand she's still with me and our children. The first experience I had was shortly after becoming uh, a Quaker. Let me see here. Uh, sorry, I lost my spot. There we go. Quaker worship, for those unfamiliar, is to sit in silence and listen for, in quotation marks, the still small voice of God within you, in quotation marks. My eldest son joined me for worship one day, but he's not very spiritual, and sitting still for long periods of time is hard for him, and he kept fidgeting around in his chair. As he was doing this, I heard my wife's voice say very clearly a phrase in another language, which I cannot say, which translates to, "Without desire, not even food is good." This was one of her favorite sayings. This was heard in my mind, but welled up from the heart first. I know she was letting me know our son wasn't benefiting from coming to the meeting with me because he didn't want to be there. And I haven't asked him again since to join me. Lost my spot there again. The second experience happened as I was falling asleep one night. I wasn't quite asleep yet, but drifting in and out. Then uh, I heard her say my name audibly in the room, and felt the mattress compress right beside me, as though someone had sat down on the edge. I wasn't scared, but the sudden movement jarred me back to full consciousness. The most recent experience happened last week. I fell asleep and woke up in her arms. I remember us talking and laughing as we caught up on the kids' lives and us being grandparents now. Then I realized I was dreaming and about to wake up. I told her I didn't want to go but had to go and gave her a kiss. I woke but could still feel her holding my hand as I lay in bed and went back to sleep. I've had a couple other interactions with her when I've asked about what it's like when once we pass. She says it's hard to describe, but it's like everyone is together, separate and individual, but also unified and part of each other. Just thought I'd share for anyone who's lost someone and wondered if we go on. Sorry. We absolutely do. And that's where that one ends. So I wanted to share that one because there's some fascinating things in there. For one, just the number of experiences that this person had. For another, I find that communication that seems to be fairly frequent, and I also find that description of the afterlife, however you want to call it, to be also very interesting, and I haven't heard that quite that way before, so I thought that was neat. But anyway, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening. I'll talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.